make it loud for Josh Johnson!
One thing that is very fun about being in Pittsburgh is your sort of singleness in fandom. The way that you love the Steelers, right? The way that you, yeah. And I saw this story about a woman whose husband sadly passed, and to commemorate him, she kept his Steelers tattoo. I'm glad we're on the same page. Because initially when I saw it, I was like, what? Yeah, no, kept the Steelers tattoo, and it's like in a little. And then in the article, she was like, yes, we kept the tattoo. No, we don't think it's weird. And I was like, I figured you didn't think it was weird. Seems like it was your idea. That would be wild if you were sitting there holding the plaque like, I can't believe they let us do this. This is... little odd, right? And look, I don't know. Wow. Like when I saw it, I was like, because also, look, I'm not gonna linger on it too long, but it was a big tattoo, so I don't even know what that is. That back? Is that arm? Is that, you know what I mean? And maybe this is something that the husband would have loved. Maybe he's like, yeah, keep it, put it in the living room, right? I don't know. I also don't know how hauntings work, but I imagine I do imagine having some of my skin means I'm gonna stop by. If anybody ever kept some of my neck, I think I'd be like, we have to have a discussion. Poltergeist or not, I'm coming over, we're talking about it. You know, you already have to be careful in people's houses because you never know who got the urn on the mantle or something like that. I don't know why they don't sell urns with like a lock on it. Every urn I've ever come across just been ready to be opened like a cup of sugar. We gotta start making urns harder to spill. You know what I mean? I've been in people's houses where they got, whether it's like a family member or the pet, they got the urn on like a mantle or a bookshelf, and I'm like, that's a little high. If it falls, they will be everywhere. And it does sort of, I don't know. It does taint the memory a little bit if this urn fall and now you gotta Dyson him up. And then put him back in a new urn with whatever was on the carpet. Just something to think about, baby. Literally, just even McDonald's cups are harder to spill Just something with a twist lock, something. Because let's be honest, unless you're spreading the ashes, you never need the ashes. You know? It's not like you hiding something in the ashes and then you're gonna open up the urn, pull out the Glock. Like that'd be a wild home invasion. That'd be imagine you're, let's say somebody, goodness forbid, but let's say somebody broke in your house or something like that, and then they've got you and the family held hostage, and maybe you did something to them. Maybe you're a healthcare CEO, right? And so then they got you tied up with your family and everything, and it's like, look, I'm sorry, all right? And they're like, sorry is not enough, you about to go. It's like, okay. All right, I get that, but okay, look. A long time ago, my wife passed, and I always said that, like, whenever I go, I'd like to go with her, and she's right there. Intruder gonna be like, over there? Yeah, she's on the fourth shelf. Fourth shelf next to Great Expectations. If I could just like hold her, I'll just, the small kindness. Let me hold her while you bow. The intruder's like, okay, go ahead. Go get her. Thanks, honey. No, it's wild. Because now that mantle it's like in a frame. And I guess they're gonna put it on the wall. That seemed just as precarious as any urn. Imagine you having a house party. And somebody bumped the frame, it fall. Now you getting yelled at. You knocked over daddy. Everybody does things differently, and some people very differently. But once again, I don't know. I don't know if he would have loved this sort of thing, But it'd be crazy to think he might be looking down like, ugh. But in case he loves this sort of thing, and in case he can hear us on 3, I'd love all of you to join me in a Go Steelers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Hopefully that will stop me from being haunted. my life, I've had a lot of roommates, and it's funny because, like, I don't know, I've talked about this before, but like, roommates is like extra family because you're poor. You don't exactly bunk up with a stranger because things are going well. Every roommate I've ever had has been out of necessity. And you just gotta get used to it. But it's crazy because people, the way that people are roommates is usually a clue into how they lived before, like how they were raised, potentially. Maybe they were raised to act differently than they're acting as roommates, and this is them out on their own for the first time, rebelling against all these rules they had at home when they were, younger. That's the most charitable way to put it. Like, I think mostly a lot of people are insane. And there's nothing like having like a messy or lunatic roommate, and then maybe you do become friends, though. Maybe you're friends, maybe you're friendly. And then you go visit them at their house and you see that it's pretty much the same. This person is wild through and through. I had a roommate that, there would be some nights where he would sleep in the bathtub. He had a bed, he had a mattress, he had pillows. But he said he would sleep in the bathtub because it felt more normal to him when he would wake up from a night terror. And I was like, I don't know how you find that out. That means this man had night terrors and tried every room before he went tub. And that was a tough roommate to have because, I would go to bed at a regular time, even a little late because, we're young and everything. We're in college, and then I would just know I can't go to the bathroom for the rest of the night. No, I can't. I'm gonna have to hold it until he wakes up. And what would normally be distressing, sleeping peacefully, and then hearing from the bathroom, is only made a relief, because then I know, okay, he's up, I can go. A lot of people in America worry about terrorism. This is a top concern for some people, and it just depends, mostly, to me at least, on when you were born, And I think that within this understanding of terrorism, there are many different definitions, One definition is someone who stokes fear and anxiety for the purpose of fear and anxiety in their enemies. And there's a lot of talk of terrorism or potential terrorism. People get called terrorists all the time, and there are some people that want to equate terrorism to one specific group, one specific religion. But I know that there are terrorists, but the terrorists that I'm talking about, they have no religion. The terrorists that I'm talking about, the terrorists that I believe already live in the U.S., they don't have some God that they call to for their purpose of doing what they do. They just do it to stoke fear and anxiety. I'm talking about people who put an empty box of cereal back on the shelf. These people have no place in our society, all right? I had a roommate. Last straw for me was this man. I had bought some Cheerios, and I bought it for the group. We all eating out here. And so then I go to grab the Cheerios, and I'm excited, I'm hungry. And I go to grab the Cheerios, and there's a certain feeling. Anyone who's been a victim of what I'm talking about will know the feeling. It is a weightlessness of despair. You go to grab what you think might even be a half-full box of cereal, and in your attempt to grab it, you put too much energy, too much force into your shoulder, into your arm, into your hand. And when you put that force into your shoulder and your arm and your hand, and you grab the box of cereal and you go to lift it up, you hit the top of the cabinet. Because there's nothing in there. And not only is there nothing in there, what's been left is crumbs. And the sound of crumbs is the jingle bells of poverty, all right? I've never felt poorer than when I hear crumbs. Hearing crumbs is right out of Oliver Twist. Crumbs is what Charles Dickens wrote all his best work to. I didn't even think I could hear crumbs. Oh, but they have a sound. It's a mix between bread particles bouncing off each other and then a whisper. It's in a moment. It's something that almost can't be identified. And it's the whisper of those crumbs, the same way that you could split atoms or you could collide particles and make an entire boom, a bang, a nuclear bomb, and a hydrogen bomb. The banging together of these bread particles makes one singular noise, and it is the universe telling you from a point of almost quantum physics, bouncing the particles off each other, that you're poor. That's the sound of poor. Wouldn't you love to say yum? You'll never say it. You're too poor. These are crumbs. If you've ever in your life, out of necessity, not out of deliciousness, had to pour crumbs into your mouth, only in the Bible do I imagine this level of thirst for food. You might as well be in the desert. Even if you are in your Pittsburgh apartment, you might as well be in the desert if you are opening your mouth, letting it hang, while an entire bag while a bag of crumbs slides and floats to your mouth. Because the crumbs that are sliding into your mouth from this bag, they have no Christianity. These crumbs are there to embarrass you. They're there to make you look and feel poor while you pour them into your mouth. Maybe that's where we get the word poor from, and maybe that's where we get the other word poor from, because you have to pour these into your mouth while you feel like the poorest person that has ever lived. And the bag is stiff because it's that hard, semi-soft plastic that they only make cereal bags out of. And because of that, it's got a lot of ridges. It's got a lot of things that the crumbs can slide and get caught up on, you know? It's a lot like when you try to get water to a new place and the water is working its way through the canyon, but it doesn't know where to go yet. It's being pushed by the other water. And this gravity that's pulling down the crumbs to your mouth has the crumbs rushing at you from all angles. Even when you try to pinch the bag, you try to pinch the bag to give yourself some dignity. You try to pinch it and straighten it up to make a funnel for your mouth, because this is all you have. Crumbs is all you have. Crumbs is your life. And so you make it as straight as possible. You slide it down. Only when you are making a paper plane do you have this level of intent as you straighten something out. You straighten it out as much as possible, and then you dip it into your mouth, and still the ridges find a way. Because the devil is busy. Oh, the devil is hard at work trying to make you look and feel poor, even if you're alone in the room. You pour the crumbs, they're rushing from all angles, skiing down the plastic to your mouth. But then something happens. You don't know if it's in the middle of the bag or it's at the very edge, because some bags, depending on what cereal you get, have smooth tops and some have ridged tops, okay? That's going to be important, because if it's a smooth top, the crumbs will slide out. If there's ridges right at the top, that means that the crumbs have one last giddy up before they get to your mouth. And so then not only do they giddy up, but you are looking for the food. You'd at least like to see what you're eating. And so you're looking down the bag, and the crumbs are like, we can go anywhere. We could go in your mouth, we could go up your nose, but we love to go in your eyes. And so then you're standing there with crumbs in your mouth and in your eyes and down your face and down your shirt, because as soon as they got in your eyes, they stung, because crumbs are sharp. You might as well juggle knives over your open eyes. You know what that feels like? To be Do you know what that feels like, to have to dig Cinnamon Toast Crunch out your eyes? Every cereal sharp. Every cereal is sharp. And so I remember I was a victim of terrorism. And I took my crumbs like a man. But then I confronted my roommate. I said, hey. I know what you did. You know what you did. I don't know why you did it. I feel like I've been very respectful. I feel like we have a good rapport. I don't know why you would engage in such a vicious attack against my Saturday. And he was like, what? I was like, you know what? Because he did know what. Because without me saying anything else, he was like, look. I put it back, but there was some in there. And I said, some crumbs? He's like, no. There was Cheerios in there. And then I thought, okay, maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I have accused the wrong roommate, because I have more than one. And so then I walked to the kitchen with him, because the bag and the box were laying on the ground, because I obviously had to run to the bathroom and wash my eyes out of the very sharp cereal. And at this time, first of all, I need to go back. This is the second time this had happened, all right? And so first time was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then the next time it was Cheerios. That's my mistake. And so then he was like, there was some in there, and then we walk over, and the bag and the box are strewn on the floor like a crime scene. Because I had to drop them immediately. I also got Cheerio in my eye. And I was like, there was nothing. And you know there was nothing because it was only crumbs. And now the crumbs are in me and on me. And then he's like, no, there was something left. I was like, what left? And he was like, there was one Cheerio. And I was like, now I know. You might as well be Osama bin Laden, because the fact that there was one Cheerio you chose to not eat and leave means you're out of your mind. And then I looked, and sure enough, there was one Cheerio on the ground. One Cheerio. A single Cheerio. Like a British person saying goodbye. Obviously, I didn't kill him. I'm here with you now, but I thought about it. I struggled a lot, growing up, even into like early adulthood, with opinion of myself, with like body image and everything. It's very difficult sometimes for any young person to believe, if they don't already believe, that they are lovable or that they are good in just the way that they are. Basically, that they are enough. You're still working on yourself. There's still things you want to do with your life. You got your whole life ahead of you, but there's nothing extra you have to do to be worth anything, And it's a hard thing to convince someone of who doesn't believe it. I wish more people believed it. If you saw yourself the way that the people that love you see you, what a beautiful world that would be, And it's not as if love isn't poured into and on these people, showered with praise when something goes right. Not everyone gets it, but even for the people that do, they still struggle with body image, they still struggle with confidence. And then for the people who should have people that they look up to, maybe not giving them any of that, either being indifferent to them or actively hurting their confidence. Sometimes even when you have those positive forces in your life, you still don't accept it in a way that would help boost your confidence. You're like, she loves me, but that's like my mom. She biased. And I know for me, I spent a ton of time trying to work on myself in different ways. Some things that I actually needed, some things that built me up, and some things that were maybe a little bit unnecessary, I really struggled to look at myself in any positive way until I got really fit. Like in my head, really, really fit. I should look like, I saw other guys and I thought I should look like that. I should look like a version of that, at least, And never mind that I'm looking at dudes who have been on their own journey or struggle with their own confidence, or maybe get a little extra help to look the way that they look. I don't know. And I was never trying to be like insanely huge. I joke about being like ripped and real big, but honestly, I don't have the frame for it. Truly, I'm not tall enough to be wide. Yeah, no matter how big my shoulders got, I'd start to just be in the way. Like, it looks good in the picture when you're flexing and you've got all the muscles and they're all defined and everything, but then practically in life, it does start to be a problem when you're trying to walk through a door. You don't want to be on a date and see a door and go, uh-oh. How do we handle this? You know, because the shoulders, the hips, they're all wide and muscular, but that door frame, oof, making all of them standard. I can't believe they're doing this. And then you're holding hands, you get to the door, and you're like, you first. You look like you being a gentleman, you know. Please go ahead. And then she walks through the door with ease, and you now have to figure something out. You're standing on the opposite side of the door, and you're like, oh, okay. As soon as you strained, you let her know this isn't going to be the life for her. I never wanted to be huge. I just wanted to be very, very fit, you know? And I worked on it with some success, with less success. But even when I started to work out, I realized that wasn't really the issue. Now I was going to the gym, and I was eating as much as possible, and I was gaining a little bit of weight. Not much. And I was like fighting to keep looking this certain way. And I finally accepted that, like, even if I got there, maybe I wouldn't be happy. And I even discovered that through other people who I knew were there. People who I wanted to look like that were in my life, you know? And they still had all the same problems I did. And I would go to the gym and I'd see people packed in there fighting to look a certain way so they could feel a certain way. And there is a bit of a cheat code. You could try to work on feeling the way without having to fully change your entire body. You know, you don't have to earn loving yourself through like straining and potentially hurting yourself, you know? Like there's some things that there's some things that go and be lifted in therapy, you know? Like it's just and but I remember I would see these workouts, and sometimes you see people get creative. There are a couple machines that are pretty straightforward. You sit down, you want to row, you put your feet here, and you pull. And that's the exercise right here. This is just what you do, and you do it for your back. You know, you work a little biceps in there too, and maybe if you're trying to work more of the back, you can lean forward a little, lean back a little with the pull, you know. I saw a guy sit down like normal and then put his feet in. And I'm not gonna lie, I stopped. I was like, this is about to be awesome. And this man, I don't know what muscle it works out. It seems like it just ruins your joints, but he went, Just make sure it's clear. and it looked like it felt like it sounded. This man did 8 sets of 10. And I watched the whole thing. Oh, there was even a time where I went to the gym and, you know, I was working out my legs differently. You know, I was doing some lunges, I was doing some like split squats and everything. Not much weight, but just trying to make sure that I worked out my legs, because there are some people that in all that self-consciousness and all of that wanting to build up for yourself, your body and your image, they still only work on the glamour muscles. They forget the base. They forget their core sometimes, and they definitely forget their legs. And we've been told since we were children that the legs are important. We've been told in many different ways. We've been told by PE teachers. We've been told by coaches. We've been told by parents. We've been told by cartoons. There's an entire cartoon dedicated to people who skip leg day. Johnny Bravo was trying to warn us for our entire childhood how important leg day is. That's not a structure you want. You don't want to have more hair than... So I was working out my legs, and so I'm packed into this gym with a bunch of other people, which is, look, it's very frustrating because this gym was unfortunately affordable. So a lot of people were in there, you know, and I was one of them. And I was hopeful, you know, sometimes they sell memberships all year and they're counting on people not to go. The way the gym structures are built out, it's so that you get all of these people here, but they're signed up, they don't actually show up. And so a gym is able to run fairly efficiently as long as like 1/10 of the people who are members show up at a time. If everybody showed up that was a member of the gym, if everybody started to really decide to work on themselves, it would look a lot like TSA. Be very little movement. The only way to work out would be passing the weights, just you can have some. And while I was in the gym, packed in there with everybody else, there was a fire alarm that went off and some smoke that we saw. And, you know, I didn't see any fire, but 2 out of 3 signs isn't bad. And so there were only 2 exits, which in retrospect was a horrible thing. Like, there was, you could only get out through the elevator, which you're not going to take during a fire, or the stairs. And so people started clamoring for the stairs. And this is where the real fitness test began. Because there were some people that were out in a flash, but then there were other people who had been working out. So they used all their fire running strength on the treadmill. So now they see that the fire alarm is going off and there's smoke, and they hop off the treadmill and they're like, oh no. And then there were other people, what I would assume people who were a bit out of their mind, that even treated the running out of the gym like a workout. There was one lady literally still looking at her watch going. And then there was me, who had been doing leg day. I tried to make my way out as fast as I could, but honestly, if I could brag on myself for a second, I had gone pretty hard. You know, I had a PR and everything, and a PR is what you don't want to have when it's time to run. Because I put the weight down, I saw everybody running out, and I made my way for the exit, and I could not stop jiggling. Like every... And yeah, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you have to evacuate for a fire, but nobody moves like there's a fire. Even as you're going downstairs to like get out of the building that has smoke in it that is like clearly, at least seemingly on fire, you still get people that do that thing that people do when they get to the top of the stairs, where now that they're clear, they just enjoy their day. If you've ever been in a walkway, there are people who can't wait. At the beginning of the stairs, they can't wait to get up there. And then as soon as they get up there, as soon as they are past the last step, they're like, oh, yes. As if there's not a ton of people behind them. And so I'm noticing as I'm shaking and jiggling down the steps, how slow people are going down the steps. And so people do start to scream like, hey, hurry, move it, you know, fire. And then we get outside, and it was next to the door. One of the reasons everybody was slowing up was that same lady was out front near the door, just like next to the door. Just run, like you still got the rest of the world to run. What are you waiting for? If you're waiting for your gym buddy, you left him. You left him to die. It's funny because I was watching the news and I saw this, can't really call it a debate, it was more of a screaming match. But it was on CNN. And on CNN, okay. Found the one person that works at CNN, and that's... Man, I've never heard anybody clap for CNN like that. Yeah. Now, to be fair, though, look. To be fair, we don't know where our friend is from, and CNN abroad is actually substantially better. Like, when you watch CNN and you're in like France or something, it is actually like engaging programming. That we really are the only ones that do CNN the way we do CNN. I like, as an example, when you travel the world, McDonald's is still fast food. We're the only ones that made it poison. You know, every other country, they just say what happened on the news. They just tell you. They're like, oh yeah, no, then these people came, and then the other people came, and then the first people left, and then the second group of people left. It's really mostly in the US where you watch news and it's like chaos in the streets. Like every news segment is cutting a promo for a horror movie. I was watching CNN and I saw where Jillian Michaels was on there in a debate that she seemed to have started, and they were talking about changes to the Smithsonian and how art and culture shifts between who has the power to dictate how the exhibits are written, who the exhibits are of, and everything. And Jillian Michaels was like, it's so unfair that slavery in this country only gets blamed on one race. Look, as outrageous as that is genuinely funny. Like, look, I'm not gonna tell anybody how to feel, but if you heard the words I said, that Jillian said, and you immediately got angry, I would ask you to take a step back. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel. You can be angry if you want to be angry, because it is a very short-sighted, ignorant thing to say, but that's precisely why it's so funny. It is absolutely hilarious. But the best way I can describe why this is funny is when I was a kid, I would I would be at home alone for about 3 hours. I would get off, from school. I would do practice, and then I would get home and I'd be alone for about 3 hours, right? So for 3 hours, I was the only person in the house. And one day, I was just walking through the house. I was eating something. I think I was like eating some Easy Mac and walking, not paying attention where I was going. And I knocked over this vase. And it was a vase that my mom loved, right? And so it smashes on the ground. And I genuinely didn't know what to do, because I was like, man, I'm going to be in a huge amount of trouble. I need to think of something. And in my head, I was like, what should I do? Should I call my mom now and be like, hey, when you get home, you will want to beat me. But I feel like if I tell you now and you're going to be like on shift for another half hour, and then just the concern, because I never call you, I'm hoping the concern that you have that I am calling you you'll be so relieved that I'm alive, that I'm not dead, you'll want to kill me less. You know, because having that coworker be like, it's your son, you know what I mean? And then have you be like, oh, what, my baby? And then I tell you what I'm about to tell you, and then you're like, oh, I'm just so glad you're still with us that I would hate to make it so you were not, right? That was one thought. Then the other thought was, look, I've given this whole having a family thing a good run. Maybe I dip right now. Maybe I leave home right now. And then the third thing, which is what I did do, was nothing. I went to my room and played some video games for what felt like might be the last time in a long time. And then my mom got home. I remember all the noises of her getting home. I remember the like screen door, and then the lock, and then the lock turning, and then the deadbolt turning, and then her walking in, the screen door shutting behind her, her shutting the door, her locking the door, and the deadbolt. Again, every footstep from the front door to the kitchen, because she missed it at first. And then every footstep after the kitchen back into the living room, where I heard my name. And not my name the way you know it, my full legal name. You know what they put on your death certificate or before a parent kills you? My full legal name. And then I walk in, and my mom is like, what happened? What is this? And then I said, oh, you just gonna blame it on me? Wow. Wow. Maybe I was in there playing video games the entire time. Maybe somebody broke it, and left. Maybe I'm lucky to be alive right now. You're just gonna immediately blame me because I was the only one here. You're just gonna blame me because it looks like it was me. And that's kind of what Jillian Michaels was doing with the whole, like... Yeah, that's kind of what she was doing. Can't believe you would just blame it on one race of people. And it's so funny, too, because when it comes to history like that, there are always these bad actors that try to pull the thinnest straw man out of the woodwork. You know? There'll always be that person. There was a guy, I don't actually remember his name, and this is before slavery in the U.S. was more based on race and before more people were shipped to the U.S. There was a dude that I've read about that apparently was of African descent, and he came over and he had about 2 or 3 slaves. And one of those slaves was seemingly of the Caucasian persuasion. And whether this thing is true or a myth, I've heard it my entire life when referencing slavery, that there was one black guy who had a white slave. And I'm like, look, even if that's true, that's not what it's known for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just picking and choosing how you present an entire idea. And it makes sense to me that someone like Jillian Michaels would say something like this. She is from a reality TV show. She's known for the show The Biggest Loser. Yeah, that's who she is, that coach from The Biggest Loser. You know, the nice one. The Biggest Loser was a show, I don't think it's still on the air anymore, so if you're not familiar with the show, it was a show where they would bring on people who were overweight, struggling with image and everything, and they would help them lose weight by making them do slavery.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Please make some noise for Josh Johnson!
There's a lot of times when you're reading the news, going through all these stories that are deeply depressing. Every once in a while you get something that's a little, I don't know, a little spark. Something that takes your mind off of all the bad stuff, even if it is one of the bad things, you know? Like, I don't know if y'all saw, but Diddy's lawyer trying to quit. Diddy. If you're not familiar, Diddy is gonna be buried under a prison, but in the Constitution, for as long as we have one, there are things. For as long as we have a Constitution, there are things laid out in it that that state your rights as a citizen, you know, and your rights in court. You have the right to not incriminate yourself. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to a speedy trial. You know, you have these rights because we've tried to set up to the best of our ability and not a great ability, a justice system that kind of works. You know what I mean? I look at the American justice system the way I look at my uncle's car, right? It barely runs, but it does turn on and off. Like functionally, it is still a car, even if you do have to push it sometimes to really get it started, and you can't trust the brakes. It's functionally it fills the definition of a car. You know? And when I look at the justice system, I'm like, it's a system. But within that system, for as long as we've had it, we've had an individual, whether they did or did not do something, needs to be represented by someone up against the state or the party suing them. And the people that take on these criminal cases, maybe they take them on because they just know our system works best when there's at least someone where it won't be popular, but there's someone to stand on the other side of the thing to make sure that the scales are balanced, that gives an honest effort, even if this person did what they're accused of doing, is a monster. None of that matters, because for the justice system to be a system, we at least have to walk in the door with the scales at balance, right? Innocent until proven guilty, and just something so that we don't all tear each other apart. And then there are people who really believe their clients. They really believe in the innocence of this person. They're like, I know this thing looks bad, and I know from every angle that everyone should just throw their hands up. But I believe this person when they told me that they didn't do it, and so they represent them, right? And neither of those seem to be the case for Diddy. Like that was all mostly theoretical. It's just his lawyer quitting. His lawyer's name, I might be mispronouncing it, but I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Rico, which is one of the most insane last names to have while not wanting to represent Diddy at all. That would be like your lawyer's name being Danny Murder, and he's like, I can't be next to you though. That's wild that I can't be over here. Because I didn't even know that lawyers, I didn't know that lawyers could quit. Everything I know about the law, I know from like movies and TV and stuff. And usually when you're watching a movie or TV show where someone is having, you know, a butting head scene with their lawyer, it's either the lawyer being like, well, look, if you're not going to be honest with me, you're not going to tell me everything, then you can just find somebody else. And you don't really know what that means, right? Or the person in jail be like, or you're not even doing your job. You don't even believe me. You know what? You're fired. And then I don't know what that means. You know? But in Diddy's case, this person, I didn't know that you couldn't just quit. I didn't know that you could quit, but I also, if you could quit, I didn't know you couldn't just quit. This is sounding dumber than I'm intending it to sound, but I'm telling you the way I found out. I didn't know that you could quit, and then when I found out you could quit, I didn't know that you couldn't just leave. You have to file a motion to quit. You have to like let the judge know I need to quit. You can't just quit the way you quit at Costco. You can't just walk out middle shift. Like, you know what, I'm gonna do something else in my life. You know? And so, you know, he filed a motion so that he could quit, and in the motion he says, under no circumstances can I continue. Woof. Under no circumstances can I continue. This man's paying you millions of dollars. Under no circumstances can I continue. And then they, you know, you ask, hey, why can't you continue? And he said, you know, hey, look, I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay? You know, people are asking him, I'm not going to give you any reasons. okay? Because that would violate attorney-client privilege, which I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. I don't know many laws at all. But that sounds very guilty to me. That sounds wildly guilty. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. That sounds very guilty. It feels like he walked, like when you're saying, hey, why are you quitting? Because I have to. Why? I can't tell you it would violate attorney-client privilege. Just that sounds like he did it then. That sounds like he did everything then. And the thing that's special about this particular lawyer, Anthony Rico, saying under no circumstances can I continue, is that this guy was Osama bin Laden's lawyer. And it's like that. Sir, what did he do? What did he do to make you, who defended Osama bin Laden, who defended Osama bin Laden in 2001, Pink Osama? If there was ever a time where the heat was on Osama bin Laden, it was 2001. And you were right there, like my client. But you were Diddy's lawyer. And you were like, you know what? Terrorism is one thing. This guy is nasty, okay? That is very nasty. I can't be a part of this. Tonight it doesn't sit well with my soul. Oh. Because I know if you're Diddy's lawyer, you got your work cut out for you. You got a whole lot of work cut out for you. You have to hope a new pandemic breaks out that only affects memory. That's the only way you have a chance, is if almost everybody forgets everything. Because, look, once again, most of what I know about the law, most of what I know about the law comes from, like, Law and Order, which means I know nothing about the law. Because in Law and Order, they got to wrap it up pretty quick. You know, they take you on a journey, but they got to wrap it up by the end of the episode. Everything can't be to be continued, you know? And so they got to wrap it up. So if they choose to have any of the episode take place in court, a lot of times what will happen, especially if you get into those close minutes where you're like, ooh, it's almost top of the hour. How are we going to resolve this, right? They usually just have the prosecutor, like the DA or the ADA, really badger the defendant, right? Like, you did it, didn't you do it? You did it, and you do it again. You looking and doing it right now. You did it, and you did it, and you did it well, and then you did it, and then you got caught, and you wish you were doing it right now. Look at you, you're not even here. You're letting your eyes glaze over. You're in your mind doing it again. Look at him, he's doing it again right now. He's doing it in front of us, and doing it, and doing it, and doing it. Didn't you do it? Just say you did it, because you did it, and we all know that you did it. You'll never not have done it because you did it and you know you did it. You do it again if we let you out. You doing it right now in your mind. You did it, and then the other person finally goes, I did it. And usually they freak out and they're like, I can't handle having to say no more than 8 times. I did it. Oh no, the jury. Dick Wolf. And that's not how it actually works in the real world. Like, sure, there are people who testify and then don't help their case. You know, they get up there and they say things that maybe make them look like they're not sorry or make them look more guilty than they're even presumed to be and everything. But you don't really have that with Diddy. Not just because the trial hasn't started, but with Diddy, he did record himself doing everything he's accused of doing, and the FBI has it. That is pretty bad. Only thing worse than doing something is doing it on camera. You know? Even if the entire jury could not see, they could hear.
So it's rough. He also has not only the lawyer that Osama bin Laden had. Diddy's got like 3, 4, 5, 6 lawyers. Got a lot of lawyers. I didn't even know you could have that many lawyers. I guess you can have as many lawyers as you want, but like that already. I'm not a lawyer. Glad I'm not on the jury, but that looks very guilty to me. Everyone that I know who's ever gone to jail or been found innocent and didn't go to jail, they had one lawyer. They had one lawyer to be like, hey, it's just me and he didn't do it. That was the whole proceeding, right? They didn't have a soccer team. That's crazy. You got so many lawyers. I bet you that was one of the things that his lawyer said. He was like, look, you're gonna be good. You got 80 other lawyers. Okay, you don't need me. Let me go. Please, I know too much. Because at a certain point, a certain amount of lawyers, I know that everyone has their specialties, but that looks bad to me, at least. It's like you need that many specialties at once. You accused of that many things that you go ahead and break up the work like a group project. And then to say you have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 92 lawyers, for any one of them to quit does make everything look worse. You know who didn't quit? OJ's lawyer. OJ's lawyer saw everything. He even saw him in the Bronco, and he was still like, I got you. We gonna be good. You know who else did quit? Jeffrey Dahmer's lawyer. He saw that to the end. Ted Bundy didn't even quit defending himself. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Let me see how this plays out. At any point, he could be like, you know what? I'm making me look extra guilty. Let me go ahead and get some help in here. No, it's mind-blowing. I don't get it. You represent Osama bin Laden. And he was number one in the world. You went for the criminal. You repped the criminal. And whatever we're finding out about Diddy behind closed doors, you were like, not this. Yuck. No. Because you see people in situations where they look incredibly guilty or they do something very dumb that's almost indefensible and they still have legal representation that sticks by them. There was a dude who, okay, I shouldn't laugh, but it's one of the dumbest crimes I've ever heard of. So basically, there was this dude who went to break into it was his house. He lived with his mom, right? But he was gonna go ahead and rob the house and try to sell a bunch of stuff off, right? So then he broke into the house and then got caught because I guess police were just happened to drive by, right? And then they see him breaking the window, going into the house. Had a key, breaking the window, going into the house, and then coming out with the stuff. They arrest him, and he can't believe. He's like, you have no right to arrest me. And at first, because he's explaining everything, they thought they had no right to arrest him because it was his place where he lived with his mom, even though it was her house, right? And he said, no, you have no right to arrest me because it's daytime. He genuinely believes you could only get arrested for burglary at night. And his lawyer didn't quit. There was a dude who he tried to rob a bank. He ran up in the bank. This was years ago. This dude ran up in the bank and he had his gun out, and he was like, go ahead and empty everything right now. I'll kill everybody. I don't care, swinging the gun and everything. And then the tellers were like, do you want a bag? because he just came in, just him and the gun, just waving, him and the gun. No bag, no nothing, not even a backpack, just here with the gun. The money now. And they were like, would you like something to hold it with or anything? And he was like, damn right, it's a real gun. And they were like, sir, we asked, would you like a bag? Would you like a bag with the money? We're getting the money right now, but would you like a bag? And he's like, you're right, I've had it. And then they turned to each other and they're like, I don't think he can hear us. And so then they hit the alarm. The alarm going off, this dude's standing there. I'm waiting for my money. They're like, no, we're getting it. They get the money, they get the bag, and before he can even leave the bank, cops roll up. And basically, yeah, he was hearing impaired. And so then he sued them for taking advantage of his disability. And his lawyer stood by him. Do you see how this normally works? That's how it's supposed to go. Your lawyer is supposed to stand by you. They're supposed to be your ride or die. Diddy's lawyer said, no, I like to live and I will not be getting in the car. Oh, that's insanity. That many lawyers. You got 98,000 lawyers. I feel like Diddy just gonna keep hiring lawyers to make sure there's no one left to be on the jury. I don't even know what you would do. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at a situation like this where the whole world knows about Diddy and Diddy's case, right? It's global news, right? And everyone is expecting things to come out during his case. So there's more eyes on it than even when it started. It wasn't just a thing that popped up, oh, Diddy got arrested and then it's over. It's the fact that all of Hollywood could be implicated. That's the feeling that people have, right? So people are going to be watching the trial nonstop for every update possible because maybe your favorite pop star, maybe your least favorite R&B artist, whoever, right, will be involved in this case somehow. And so the whole world will be watching, and the whole world already knows. So how could you not have, in a sense, at least if you're Diddy's defense, a tainted jury? Because how are you going to pull from people who can be impartial, who don't know who Diddy is, right? And then when you pull those people, a judge can say, and judges tell people all the time, look, I don't want you to engage with any media about the case. I don't want you reading any tabloids or social media or anything like that. And don't talk to anybody about the case. No podcast, no whatever, right? No interviews, no nothing. And even if you do that, it's impossible because of the way that we live in the world and the way that we interact with social to not be bombarded with things about whatever the biggest news topic is. So then how is it possible for Diddy to have a fair jury, right? And his lawyer could have made that case just now. And instead he said, no, I'm getting away from this dude. I cannot be near him at all. That's so bad that the only black lawyer he had was like, nah. You're not gonna get me caught up. Because you know, I think he's just scared. I think he's scared that he's so close to it that he's literally just representation, but he might go to jail. That can happen. I didn't know that could happen, but that can happen. I had never seen it happen in my life until Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, in case you don't remember, was Trump's lawyer. And Trump got in some legal trouble, and somehow Michael Cohen went to jail. That's a superpower.
That's a superpower if I've ever seen one. I've never seen someone dodge charges so hard they hit their lawyer in the chest. That's crazy. That's the I'm rubber, you're glue of law. That's insane. Trump had all this legal trouble. He's like, take him, Michael. I'm sure Diddy's lawyer saw that and was like, that could happen to me. I refuse. My last name is already Rico. No. Have to get away. Because who takes up for you is huge. Who takes up for you in a situation where you're in the public eye and you have a scandal or you've been found to have done something, right? Whoever takes up for you, they do shift the narrative around you, and they do shift public opinion, either for you or against you, right? Like, let's say in a scenario, right? Completely hypothetical scenario. Let's say I'm driving. I can't. I'm very bad at it. But let's say I'm driving. Once again, this would never happen, all right? I failed my driving test and I have not driven since, okay? I'm very bad. But let's say I'm driving behind the wheel of a car, which I should never be. It's a chair that could kill someone. It is insane that people just get in those and just go. Like, that blows my mind. I will take an Uber or the bus. I am fine without being behind the wheel of a death machine because all it takes is your foot and you could just take anybody out. That's crazy. I don't like being in cars in the front driving. Every time I move, it moves. That's crazy. I don't like that at all. I'll sit in the back. But let's say I'm driving, okay? And I'm driving because maybe my friend is hurt. Maybe my friend's like, oh no, I'm bleeding. No, I've been shot, whatever it is. And then he's like, you have to drive me to the hospital. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll kill us both. And so then I get in the car and then I'm hitting stuff. I'm just, because I don't know which one's the gas and which one's the brake, because honestly, they should be further apart. In my opinion, it should be like go-karts, like right foot gas, left foot brake. And then you can just drive like this. This feels more natural to me. I don't know what y'all are doing with this thing. This feels insane. To see people doing this all the time, ooh, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna stop, whatever. I wanna just do it like when you're in a go-kart. I drive so well in a go-kart, not just because I can't go fast enough to murder, but also because I know that left is stop, and that's fine. But sometimes you get a foot. Uh-oh, I've hit them both. What does that do? So then I'm in the car and I'm driving, right? And I'm doing it poorly because I do it poorly. Because as I've said before, on stage, to many people, I don't like lefts. So I take rights until I get there, okay? So I'm just gonna take a right and then take a right, take a right. My friend probably gonna bleed out, but I'm taking these rights because a left will kill everybody, right? Now, I get to the hospital. Let's say I've got to the hospital and I have run over at least 26 people, okay? So I'm being arrested. My friend is hopefully being treated, so I've saved his life, but I am in a lot of trouble. And let's say that Dolly Parton came to my defense, right? Because I'm not famous enough to get in trouble on the news, but there might be a couple of tweets where it's like, do you see that comedian just floored everybody? Just drove on the sidewalk for 6 blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 4 more blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 2 blocks and then took a right and then got to the hospital and hit somebody in front of the hospital. And I only hit them because I was trying to hit the brake, but it should be over here. But instead, it's in the middle. I guess. I don't know. I'm never in the car right there. I don't know what y'all do. Why isn't it just pep? Why isn't it just buttons? Let me hit a gas button. That would be nice. To just have the wheel and then a button. Right thumb is gas, left thumb is brake, and it's like a video game, but instead you're just over here. Crazy way to do it, but y'all do you, okay? Let's say, though, that Dolly Parton comes to my defense. Probably never gonna happen. I don't know her, would love to, but let's say. She's like, I know Josh personally, okay? And I know he would never purposely run over 26 people
It must have been something that happened. And you say he was in a car. He said he would never do that. It must be an emergency. Oh, he was trying to help his friend. Y'all, please, if you can find it in your heart, to forgive Josh and his dumb feet. I'm just saying, if Dolly Parton came to my defense, I think that would shift a lot of people's opinion of me. Everyone loves Dolly Parton. Everybody knows Dolly Parton is a sweetheart. And so if she came to someone's defense, you would think, oh, if Dolly sees something in this person, then yeah, maybe they're a good person. Maybe she's right. Maybe he didn't mean to run over 26 people. No. I don't know what Diddy does from here, because the guy who represented Osama bin Laden dipped. I don't know who you get after that. That seemed like the bottom or the top, depending on what your definition of willing to represent evil is. I don't like if the dude who represented Osama is like, I'm a dip, I don't know who else would jump in, you know? Giuliani? Okay, well, he lost his license. I'm positive he lost his license. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's the only one who can do it. I have no idea. Because someone did come to Diddy's defense in the wake of Diddy losing that representation, you know, close proximity to Diddy's lawyer being like, I can't do this anymore. Someone did come to Diddy's defense publicly. Unfortunately, it was Kanye West. In a tweeting tirade, Kanye West went on an absolute rampage. He called himself a Nazi. He posted a bunch of like anti-Semitic stuff. He said all sorts of things. And then he said, by the way, free Puff. I think if you're Diddy in jail, you're like, this is worse. That is worse. I did not know it could get worse than the Osama bin Laden lawyer leaving me. But this is bad. This is very, very bad. That was me kind of like doing a little bit of rapping the way that Diddy does it because he's not good at it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, this is bad. This is worse because he's calling himself a Nazi, and then he's like, also that guy. Think of that guy and me together right now. Think of when you think of me, I want you to think of him, all right? But who knows? Maybe when the lawyer who represented Osama bin Laden dips, maybe the only person left to represent you is Ye. I think that's I could see that. I could see Ye showing up to court being like, Your Honor, I rest my case.
And so naturally, when you're 13, 14, whatever, you're not a person yet. So you're kind of a monster. And it wasn't long before I came home reading Craigslist every day before I decided to get involved. And so I started just like starting these correspondence with people, you know, like on misconnections or what. I'd pretend to be the person that they had the conversation. So I was like, yeah, baby, I got one eyebrow and the other one coming in, you know? And I was doing it every day for like months. And then some people, I would give myself away by being too into it and they know it wasn't the person and they wouldn't respond. But other people, we get like a long correspondence for a while. And I remember one day I was, sitting at the computer, just really excited to get into it. It was just a Tuesday and I didn't have anything else to do. And this was a 2-hour window day, not a 1-hour window. And so on this particular day, I was just scrolling through all of Craigslist and I saw that there was an ad. The ad just read, "Join the KKK." Question mark. And so naturally I was like, dope. And so I started a correspondence with this dude named Dale. And like, I felt kind of bad because like, if you're hurting that bad in 2004 for recruitments that you need a Craigslist ad, then we must be making progress. Like, the world's getting better. And so I talked to Dale a little bit, just emailing back and forth. I was like, hey, what's up? I'm white. You want to chill sometime and talk? And by chill, I don't mean the way black people use chill. I mean actually go somewhere cold and hang out together as friends. And to my surprise, the next day, I had an email from Dale that was like, hey, great to meet you. You seem like a cool guy. And all of our correspondence for the first couple days was like the most basic, just like, oh man, you like Star Wars too? So do I as well. Like I couldn't be natural on the thing. Like I was so nervous every time I typed. But then once we really got like a rapport built up, he was like, we should meet. I want you to meet the brothers. And I was like, that sounds great. And I grew up in Alexandria, Louisiana, which if you've never been there, don't know what it is, you're doing fine. So I guess you don't need to. But there's this bar called Finnegan's. And I was like, hey, Dale, look, just meet me at Finnegan's and we'll sit down, we'll have a chat and everything. And then if you really like me, you can introduce me and the other brothers and we can all be a family. And so the next day comes, and naturally I don't show up. I don't want to die. I was never going to... That'd be insane. No. But he hits me up the next day after school. And I should point out that, like, for 2 weeks, I was running home mainly to talk to Dale. I wasn't even reading Craigslist anymore. I had 6 friends, and Dale was one of my best ones. But I came home the other day, and he was like, hey, I went to Finnegan's, and I waited on you, and you didn't come, man. Why would you stand me up like that? And I was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. And so I came up with an excuse, and this is like, we're talking 2004, we're talking... before, like, everybody had a cell phone, So it's like some people still, didn't have a cell phone, and they made plans and they went out and they did them, And so if there was a hiccup, you just had to roll with it because you couldn't just text someone like, hey, I'm totally not going to abide by the plan now. I've chosen a different plan. I'm letting you know now. So for a week, I just like kept getting Dale to eat and shop alone. Like, And each time I had a great excuse. Like each time I was like, oh, my mom fell, and like I just had to be there with her and everything. And every day he understood, and he was like, you know what, you did the right thing, brother. You know. And I remember one day especially he was particularly upset because he had come home, obviously come home, emailed me that evening, but I didn't see it till the next day. And he was like, you never came to Target. I was in Target by myself for 3 hours. I bought a popcorn maker. I don't even need a popcorn maker. I was just in Target by myself and bored, and I was waiting on you. Now I got a popcorn maker in front of me, and what are you gonna do about this popcorn maker? And I was like, bruh, I'm so sorry. And by bruh, I do mean shorthand for brother, not the way that black people use it. I'm so sorry. I just, my girlfriend, she tripped. And it was always women falling. Like, I'm surprised that he never caught on. Every time it was like, oh yeah, my great aunt just hit a stair. Or like just the worst lies. Because a 14-year-old idiot. And even now, I'm like, wow, like, I was alone with a computer, and I just catfished the Klan. I can't think of anything dumber or more porn would have been better. Porn would have been normal. You thought you were about to hear a story about porn. And instead, it just took a wild turn. And then finally, after, I think it was a week and a half, he was very resilient. They must be hurting for numbers. Because after a week and a half, he was finally like, okay, you know what? Ball's in my court now. I'm gonna set a time, I'm gonna set a place, and if you don't come, then don't ever talk to me again. And I was like, fair enough, okay? You've been so patient with me. I really just want to be part of the brotherhood. Just let me know where I need to be. And then he picked Finnegan's again. There's not that many places to go in my town. And naturally, I didn't show up. I didn't hear from him again. And I've noticed this trend online that's kind of disheartening, where like now people are being called racist, but for like nothing. Like actually not. Like I'm petty, so I'll read the whole thread, and I finish the entire thread. I'm like, oh, that was it? I don't even think that's a thing. You know, like, oh, you said this, you tweeted this one thing one time, you must be a racist. Or like, you voted this way, you must be a racist. You're a whole racist by a person who doesn't know you. And I'll tell you, as like a black dude that grew up in the South, I don't think you're racist until you go to your second Klan meeting, all right? Like, look. Because maybe the first one, maybe your buddy Dale's invited you to a barbecue, all right? Everybody loves barbecue, okay? You get there, there's delicious barbecue. There's dry rib, there's sloppy, it's all happening. You see somebody put on a white hood, you're like, I don't know, costume barbecue, that's a little odd. But you just keep eating. There's corn on the cob, there's collard greens, there's brisket, there's pulled chicken, it's all delicious. And then there's a burning cross in front of you, and you're like, I'm already here. I say this because it happened to my friend Jordan, okay? He accidentally went to a Klan rally because without knowing what I was doing, my buddy Jordan, who was about 3 years older than me, actually met Dale. And got invited to a barbecue. Turns out Klan rallies don't just start, they ease you in with a barbecue. And he was like, I know what to do, I ate all the food, I can't miss the meeting. So he stayed for the entire Klan rally and went home immediately, called me, I came over, we talked about it. Turns out a Klan rally is exactly the thing a Klan rally is like. There were no spoilers. But just past his head in the kitchen, I could see a to-go plate. And I was like, Jordan, are those Klan ribs? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, can I have some? And it hurts me as a black dude that grew up in the South to say that the Klan makes the best ribs. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what kind of rub that is. Who would have known that you can't taste racism? It's delicious. Okay? It was to the point where I was like, I think you need to join. I need these every Sunday. These are amazing, guys. Guys, I'm Josh Johnson. Thanks so much. I saw that in D.C., the 911 operators are what? Oh my God! Y'all don't even know what I was gonna say. What's happening? Oh my God! Trust me, this is gonna go somewhere good. Just let me do the show. Oh my God. For a split second, I was like, are y'all gonna come up here? Like, this feels like the last thing Chris Rock saw before it's just the 22 of you just, Wow, okay, all right. Well, 911. Or they're basically starting a program where 911 operators are going to get $800 if they go to all of their shifts, right? If they don't call out, if they don't miss a shift. And I didn't know that this was that much of a problem, right? Because when you think about it, 911 is a pretty hard job to call out of. Yeah, I mean, like if you work at 911 and you're like, hey, I can't come in today, and they're like, why? And you're like, oh, it's an emergency. It's like, oh, tell me about it. Tell me where. Like, nah, it's personal. But yeah, apparently that's been happening. Apparently there's been very, very few shifts that have been like, did you call them or something? This you were like, did something happen to you personally? Or?
It's just a frustration I have with the city. Like,
oh, okay. Oh, you just don't like it here. Like, you got a bigger thing. You got a bigger...
if I call them, I'm
Yeah. But to be fair, when you call them, it's cause you're finna die. Like, it's... Got you. This is my thing. It's like, it's gotta be hard to a certain degree. I try to give people a little bit of grace because it's gotta be hard to like take those calls, you know? Because whenever I get an emergency call as a friend, I don't handle it well. You know what I mean? Like when my friend calls me as if I'm 911, calls me as like, oh my God, I need you to come pick me up. I need your help. I'm always immediately like, why'd your stupid ass go over there to begin with? Like they're clearly still in the emergency. And I'm like, see, that's why I told your dumb ass not to go over there. Because you love hanging out with them. They make you feel cool and everything. But now that somebody got popped, now you want help. So now I'm supposed to come over and get shot so I can prove I'm really your friend. Because notice you didn't call him. You called me, all right? Because you knew he wouldn't come. Now I'm sending an Uber driver over there just with a note to be like, don't wait long. Like if he doesn't get in, then he not there. So I get it. I get how it's got to be one of the hardest jobs because you're taking the emergency, but you're also powerless, right? You can send somebody the way I sent that Uber. And to be fair, you know, when 911 sends somebody, they know that they're the emergency service. My driver thought he was picking me up. My friend running up to the car. He's over here like, for Josh? He's like, yeah, whatever.
You know, so it's like you're in a tough spot because you are genuinely powerless to what's happening, and you must hear just the worst stories, just the worst things. You know what I mean? Nobody calls to chat. You know what I mean? Nobody calls 911 to be like, "How's your day going?" Does anybody ever ask you how you? You know what I mean? I will say that. Okay, I'm digressing for a second, but it does make me mad. As much as we are surveilled. Why when you call 911 they don't know it's you? Do you know what I mean? Like I get so mad. Like I've only had to call 911 a couple times in my whole life, and then they were like, 911, what's your emergency? Like, what? What are you talking about? What is my who am I? And they're like, where are you? I called from a home phone. I called from a hard line. People don't even have those anymore. You don't know exactly where I am right now? It's like, no, we actually can't trace the call. Oh, okay. You want to come find? I'm going to kill the president. Can you find me now? Like, that's... That's insane. We can't tell where you are right now. We don't know. What? You know my whole browser history, and you don't know where I am. All right, whatever. But then, yeah, people have been calling out, so now they've started this initiative to be like, hey, maybe. And look, I don't know what 911 operators in D.C. or anywhere in the country, I don't know what they get paid. I'm sure whatever they get paid is not enough, because I'm sure that every day, no matter the situation, at least one tragic thing happens that they just have to take home with them. You know? And then you have to take the next emergency like you didn't just hear the last emergency. You know? Because nobody thinks about that. When you call 911, that person probably wants to tell you, can you give me a second? Can you give me a second? Because there was an active shooter situation, and then they just hung up. So now I'm talking to you. So I'm sorry. What's that about your chest pains again? You know? So it's got to be incredibly difficult. I understand why you wouldn't go back. I've quit jobs for far less. I think if I worked at 911 and I got a bad enough call the first, 5 calls, I'd be like, y'all, this isn't for me. I'll send money or something, but I can't. This is bad stuff. I don't have the help in my heart that I thought I had. You know what I mean? Because then also you have to, you have to not be the problem. There's a show called I Survived that I will watch sometimes with my girlfriend, and it's amazing how many times the 911 operator isn't just not helpful. They're actively contributing to the emergency, because then the person will call and be like, hey, there's somebody in the house. What? There's somebody in the house. You gotta get over here quick, because there's somebody in the house. It's not you? Somebody plus me. Is in the house. What room? I don't know what room. But they're not supposed to be in the house at all. Speak up, I can't hear you. Your voice down. Look, don't get an attitude with me. You called me, all right? Don't get an attitude with me because you called me, all right? I didn't call you going, hey, how you doing? You called over here, okay? I'm sorry. Just keep your voice So it must be hard. It must be hard because you're trying to help and you could be hurt. Because then also you hear stories of people who were like, yeah, I called 911, but they couldn't hear me. So then they hung up. I'm like, how do you not have the good headphones? I'm talking about every 911 operator. I don't like that little thing that Halle Berry had in the movie with the little mic and the little earpiece, and it was only on one side. No wonder they can't hear anything. I want them to have the big old cover the ear, cover half the head headphones. You know, the ones that gamers have? You hear everything. When I play games, I can hear this kid's mom's footsteps in the hallway on the way to knock the controller out of his hand. Like, you can hear everything. They got them fighting. Not enough resources, not enough people. Because honestly, it's like, look, you know, we can criticize, but it's like, I really don't want to do it. You know, like, I think if people want to get it, like, really understand, I think everybody, I believe this for a lot of jobs, but I think that everybody should have to take 2 911 calls. Just because you would be like, all right, so I let both mine die. That's my bad. I didn't know how to handle it. I panicked. I just started crying while they were talking, so I didn't take in any information or anything. That's my bad. I won't criticize as much anymore. You know, $800 for all of your shifts, just because you still get paid, and then an $800 bonus if you make it to all the shifts. I don't know. I think that maybe. Let's try it. Let's see. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, I heard, okay, I did not know this person, but I heard a story one time from a friend when I lived in Chicago, who his cousin worked at 911, and then he called out, which I didn't even know they were allowed to do back then. I thought you had to, like, really go in every day, or they would give you a total. They'd be like, hey, listen, this is how bad the day was without you, so. As an incentive to keep you coming into work, right? But basically, you know, his boy called out, and then while he called out, and then he, okay. Y'all are gonna judge me, all right. He called out, and then he got into a car accident, right? And so he wasn't driving, his friend was driving, and it was just like, it was a fender bender, but it was like a bad one. And so then he went ahead and called just in case. And then when he called, apparently, they were like, 911, what's your emergency? And he was like, nigga, it's me. Must be tough. In Chicago, there's a lunch lady that was arrested for stealing $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. As soon as I read the headline, I was like, I have questions. How many is 1.5 million chicken wings? Because are we talking like the price of specials? You know what I mean? Because like if those are 50-cent wings, we're talking about millions of wings. No? Or these like the more expensive wings, like the nice wings that got some real girth to them. You know what I mean? Maybe they're $1 each, you know. $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. And this was basically during the pandemic. She was in charge of ordering the food, right? And so she would order the food, and she started ordering the food, but then ordering some wings on the side, right? Like any of us. And so she started a whole hustle with these wings, right? And she drove the cargo van, so it was the perfect crime. She's the one ordering the food, and then she's the one picking up the food. So she was ordering the cargo vans, she was using the cargo vans after ordering the food. So she was basically taking the billing, but she was keeping the meat. No one knows where the wings are. Yet another mystery, right? Because any number of things could have happened with these wings. And I want to be clear about something. The program that she's ordering the wings for is for kids who are doing remote learning but still receiving a school lunch, right? So some of those kids, there's a chance that some of those kids went hungry off of her scheme, right? Which is sad. It's terrible. And it made me wonder what made it worth it? Getting all these wings, right? Did she have a side business? Yes. Was she going up to like a wing stop? Like, hey. Hey. Anytime somebody's a criminal, they whisper in my mind. Hey. You deal in wings, I deal in wings. I got some wings outside. Fell off a truck. You don't ask any questions. You make a little more money. And then Wingstop is like, no, we're not going to take your outdoor falling off of a truck wings. No, thank you. Nah, I'm good. And then she was like, okay. All right. I already have an offer at Buffalo Wild Wings. Because I'll tell you what, I have been to some wing places in my life where you eat the wings, you're like, this has been on the floor. Like, this is not good. This is no reason they charged a quarter, all right? This is bad. So maybe she was flipping them. Maybe she was going over there with cases of wings to like local restaurants, being like, hey, just go ahead, serve it to the people. They're good wings, right? If you buy wings off of her, you gotta be watching your dining room floor that night like, nobody dying, I guess it was some good wings, okay. Really made a deal. And then I had a friend point out that perhaps, she was doing some sort of Robin Hood thing where she knows, because she's been working in the system for, about a decade, that a lot of food goes to waste. Maybe she was ordering food to give some food away, which is fine. I'd like to believe that little, like, chicken wing Robin Hood type angle. You know what I mean? Like an angle where she just is out on the corner, deep frying in real time, just like feeding the hungry. Get over here, burn your mouth on this, But even in that scenario, you had to take food from a kid who was already hungry. And one of the reasons they caught her is that when they were checking the budget, they saw that the district was $300,000 over budget. You gotta be more careful than that. Like she ordered all these wings, I guess in the period of like a few months, which is gonna be noticed, right? And one of the reasons they caught her is because the schools don't order chicken wings. Kind of almost feels like entrapment. It was even an option. Like I wonder when they saw the order if they were like, chicken wings? Okay, we'll do our best. But they don't do chicken wings at school lunches because of the bones. Yeah, because you have dumb kids that'll eat them. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm brilliant, but I always knew not to eat a bone. You know, I don't know why we coddling these children. Go ahead and, you know what I mean? Let the kids have some real flavor in their lives. We can't have flavor because this one kid gonna try to eat the whole thing. Oh, it's annoying. But it is crazy because when you think about it, if she had just stuck to like chicken nuggets, she'd be running an enterprise right now. Because I'd like to believe, just me personally, that she was like a chicken wing kingpin. At 7 figures, you're doing something with those wings. You know what I mean? I'd like to think that, you know, she be showing up to the drop and everything. Looks like The Wire, but it's for chicken wings. She shows up with the wings. They don't show up with the money, you know? And she's like, oh, you don't have the money? Okay. Grab them. And then 2, like, you know, 2 goons run up and grab the dude. And he's like, wait, I can pay. I swear I can pay. And then they make him put his arm in like a chicken wing, you know what I mean? Like, and then they put his arm on the hood of the car and he had a chicken wing. He's like, no, please, don't do it, please. And then one of the goons just stomping his elbow, like just something that really hurts. They send him away, he's like, oh. Don't forget the money next time. Because when I saw her mugshot, it was crazy. Because, you know, she's a bit older. I believe she's like 66, 68 or something like that. So it's kind of odd when you see an older person in a mugshot. Because she over here looking like Deadpool's roommate. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, how you look like a lunch lady and guilty in the same picture? You could tell she had served some lunches too, just from the picture. Picture had a little sass to it, just a little like. You can tell that's how she be looking at kids when they ask for extra pudding or something. Oh, that's tough though. They gave that woman 9 years.
Oh, that's right.
Right? 9 years. That feels disproportionate. You know what I mean? The state doesn't care that much about chicken wings. They don't even care about the kids that much. That's 9 years? Wow. People on Wall Street don't do a day. Like, that's 9 years. You know, I think that's too much. If it were up to me, I don't even know if I would have her really serve jail time. If it were up to me, it'd be probation, and she has to eat $1.5 million worth of chickens. Oh, we know what you having for lunch for the rest of your life, ma'am. 6 years in, she's like, I've had every sauce there is. I can't do this anymore.
When I